Good morning, everyone. So, let's just call it out at the beginning. The biggest thing that has happened to me this week is our air conditioning is not working at the office. And so I have fans running. So I'm hoping that sound is still okay. I'm trying to put the mic right near me so that you don't hear, all of the other stuff in the office. And here we go. Okay. Well, welcome and good morning. I hope you're having a great Friday. I know that today is probably the first day in a long time that I'm very grateful that it is 60 degrees and it's raining outside because it allows me to do the work that I had scheduled today for Friday and not reschedule it. So thank you, Mother Nature, for allowing me to be of service today. I'm so excited. Today we are continuing our conversation that we started last week that's inspired by the book A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle and the book club podcast series that is airing right now on the HRart of It Podcast. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure that you do. And today we're talking about 3 modalities for basically living a collective life, or awakened doing, as Eckhart refers to him in his book. And it was one of the greatest takeaways that I had from reading A New Earth, and that's why I want to share it with all of you. Last week we covered acceptance, so if you missed that, make sure you go back and check out that replay. And today we're going to talk about enjoyment. So before we get there, let's hop into our post to ponder for this week. So our post to ponder come from this week. This post is by Adam Gordon from PTO Genius. He's one of the co-founders there. Adam also has been a previous guest on the podcast last season. Awesome episodes. There's actually 2 of them. So if you didn't get to tune into those, make sure that you check those out. So this post says 40% of workers say the wellness programs offered by their employer are fair or poor, according to a study by NPR. The study concluded many workers experience higher levels of stress due to being overworked. This may include working long shifts, overtime, and not taking vacation or paid time off when available. Now more than ever, work-life balance is important. How do you show your workforce that you truly value their mental well-being? And here's the link to the article. So Adam, I highly recommend that you follow him if you're interested in anything regarding wellness and paid time off and thinking about that creatively. PTO Genius definitely are your go-to resource. They opened my eyes to see this benefit in a whole new way. And then obviously making a link to wellness, which I think we've always known, but they call it out in a very direct fashion. So I think that's really important. But let me just take a hot minute and share why in the world I am essentially very much moved or forced to pause when I saw this post. So something that has rudely kind of come to the forefront, and I don't even know if rudely is the right word, but maybe not rudely, abruptly. So something that has really kind of come right at me is the concept of employee wellness. Let me turn it on so you can actually see me. So the concept of employee wellness and what that actually means coming out of 2020. This is one of the top trends that I think we should all be watching as HR practitioners. And if you're someone who's a burnt out professional and you found the Heart Rise Morning Show, welcome. And I am advocating on your behalf to say that the wellness programs that are in place are not built to address actively what our workers are experiencing. And we need to really think about that program. I think we started and we had tons of stuff to do and we thought we would have time later to really focus on it, like with many things. Like we're seeing that with compensation, we're seeing that with diversity, and now the time is now. Now we have to do that. This past year, working with my students, I do a training program in the spring, a training course in the spring, and I let them pick topics that are near and dear to the heart that are relevant to HR practitioners. And this year, overwhelmingly, the topic was wellness, physical wellness, emotional wellness, mental wellness, all the way around. And so it is something that we need to pay attention to. No doubt that we need to pay attention to it. All right, post number 2. So I'll be honest, I paused at this post initially because of our good friend Jeff Harry, who has also been on the podcast. Jeff shared in one of the podcast episodes about a TikTok video that got a ridiculous amount of views, and it was saying a Jet Li quote. And I don't remember that exact Jet Li quote, but he basically said it kind of saddened him that there was so many people resonating with this quote. But he was also pleasantly surprised because the quote had come from Jet Li. So obviously when I saw Jet Li posted by Change Your Perception on Instagram, I was intrigued. So I read this quote, and it says, "Once you become very aware of yourself, it's almost a joke when someone tries to tell you about you." So I think there's something really fascinating to just process here as someone who is waking up, living your connected life, really getting in tune, increasing your wellness, doing your own restorative work, self-healing, is that before all of that, we rely so heavily on external influences, whether that's our parents, whether that's our friends, whether that's our professional colleagues or boss. We really rely heavily on what their thoughts are of us because we are at some capacity kind of lost and wandering. But what is really cool about this is reiterating what's going to happen while you're doing this work. You'll feel a shift that's almost, padded with a sense of humor when someone tries to inform you or make you aware of yourself. Because we learn a lot of the time that most of the time our perceptions are a direct mirror of personal work that we have to do. And so I think that it's just, this quote says it very perfectly, but you will feel this shift. And when someone comes and shares an opinion about you, it won't land the way that it previously did. And eventually it will feel like a joke. It will feel like a joke. And post number 3, actually this post, as you can see, there's these little dots underneath. So there's tons of posts here that we'll be talking about. Actually, next week I spread them out because there was so much that was in here from We the Urban, which I actually think I started following as a result of Jeff Harry sharing many of their posts. So if you're not following Jeff Harry, follow Jeff Harry. He will lead you to the path of all these really cool people to follow as well. So this image just says, "You've changed," and the other one says, "We're supposed to." What I really loved is the color differences, and I think visually it captures what is happening energetically for us when we evolve and we raise our vibration and where we were before. And so, you could be here watching the Heart Rise morning show and be like that initial image where there's just splatters of color because you're intrigued and you're open to it. And then as you continue to grow and evolve, you're going to have more color and it's going to become more lively, but also more vibrant. And I will actually say that, as I do this work on myself, a lot of the times when I do engage in a meditation, a visualization, or a practice, afterwards, the world just seems so much more vibrant. The colors are so much more vivid. And maybe that has to do with the ability to be present, which is a great segue to what we are talking about today. So let's look at that. So today we are, just as a refresher, in the book A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, shares 3 modalities of awakened doing. These 3 modalities are acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. Each of these modalities represents a certain vibrational frequency of consciousness. For the next 3 weeks, we are in week number 2, we'll be unpacking these modalities and their vibrational frequency. In this episode, we're continuing our discussion with enjoyment. When we experience enjoyment, it replaces our common motivational driver of wanting. We are able to surrender to a sense of aliveness that is accompanied with peace. Before we even get to my 3 talking points for today, I just want to reiterate, and once again, we're seeing a cue to let us know when we're in balance, and that is the wanting, the desiring. Wanting less, desiring less is a sign of being in balance. And so I thought that's a really cool kind of takeaway that I wanted to make sure that we make note of as we move into my 3 points for our heart chat today, talking about enthusiasm. So point number 1 is when we're focusing on enthusiasm and really truly being able to embrace it, the focus is on the present. So we are not obsessing about what possibly could go wrong in the future. We're not like enthralled or trapped. What is the word? Kind of obsessing. I guess I keep saying obsessing. Obsessing is like the word of the day, but keep revisiting over and over, reflecting in an obsessive fashion of the past. So if you were to really break down our days, a lot of our time is spent looking behind and looking ahead rather than what is in the present moment. Even think about driving a car. When I'm driving someplace, I find myself, my mind is wandering rather than being in that present moment of what is happening in the vehicle. That possibly is why accidents occur. We're distracted because we're either thinking about the past or about the future. Where am I going or where have I been? And so when we talk about enthusiasm and really, or not enthusiasm, enjoyment, and really emphasizing it, the focus is being present. And the way that we do this is we get really specific about the present moment, and we want to get really detailed and dive and curious about everything that we can in that present moment. Absorbing it in, almost like you're activating all of your senses to fully take in that memory so that you can access it at any given time. You're scanning a landscape to make sure that you can remember every little piece, every little texture, every little sound, to fully take it in. Imagine doing this in a place that is in nature, and hearing all the sounds of nature, feeling all the textures, smelling all the smells, and just getting more and more curious about your surroundings to fully connect with what's happening in that moment. Excuse me. Number 2, today, now. So, when we're talking about enjoyment, and we're talking about embracing it as a modality of doing. One day I'm going to travel the world. I'm really going to enjoy that. One day I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to do that. The time is now. To engage in this modality of doing that allows you to live in alignment with your connected path, you're doing it now. You choose to do it today. We talk about things that we would like to do, or I would really enjoy this. Do it today. I think that this sometimes can lead to a sign of imbalance when what we are looking for and trying to do today is actually being driven by a wanting rather than an enjoyment. So I want that. I need that. a strong desire for, rather than enjoying something in the present moment. So many of the things that we can enjoy are small things that we can do in this present moment. They don't require, a lot of times, a large leap of faith. They don't require us to spend a large lump of money. Enjoyment really is tied to simple things. Like, I think about the time I spend with my children and being in that present moment with them. It's less about what we are doing, but more so about the interactions and the connections that are happening between us. So for this modality to work, it's focusing on the present moment, but it's also focusing on that present moment being now. Not saying, okay, I'm going to do that in the future. I'm doing it now. I'm doing it today. I'm starting today. So, like, for example, I have been saying that I'm going to repot and plant the plants here at the office that are not doing so well with the radical temperature change of AC to now whatever the outside is doing and how it impacts our internal indoor environment. Today, now, these plants bring me joy. They bring me enjoyment. I'm going to do that after this. After this, our time together, I'm going to go pot that. And then I'm going to post it on the gram. So follow me at Sam Smelter, and I'm going to post it on the gram. Anyways, so now and today. And the final point is create something. So I put a bunch of different things on there. I love to create collages. I love to play with paint, even though I'm not an artist in a formalized fashion. I also love to write. One of my chosen ways to create is writing. And I will tell you that I get so much enjoyment and my energetic vibration rises so rapidly when I choose to write in a creative fashion. This is not writing emails. This is when I work on my books. So yes, the books are huge accomplishments, but they are a collection of me sitting down, creating, enjoying. That's also why I have to write books that I enjoy to write. I couldn't write a technical book that, even if I thought that it would be of service and that you asked for it, if it was painful to write, it just wouldn't serve me. Writing is one of my creative outlets that's linked in this entire awakened modality of doing. And so, create something, play. I think that that's one of the greatest places that we have been disconnected. When I work with adults, early on, my work when it was started, it was using Bob Pike's creative training techniques. A lot of that was engaging in play. We've seen this, oh my gosh, I have no words today. This resurgence of play people who are facilitating and encouraging the inner child to come out and play, like Jeff Harry and Rona and Jess that were on the podcast. A bunch of play people came on the podcast. And it's all asking you to engage in this creative opportunity. I've seen so much resistance from people who believe that they can't play or create because that's not an adult thing to do. We don't know what it is doing to us as an adult because we're not engaging in that capacity. And I'm asking you to find something that you enjoy. So if you enjoy woodworking, if you enjoy creating at home, so decorating and gardening, all those are forms of creation. In the artistic fashion, collaging, the way that we do vision boards here at the HRart Center, is one of my favorite creative outlets, which is why I share it with the world. That being said, during Vision Fest, not everyone creates their boards like me. Other people do these beautiful things. Steph, who's on our team here, if you follow her, she is an artist, but she does these innate collages now on a monthly basis that she's been doing since she attended Vision Fest in 2021. And really cool to see those boards who look like completely different. They are communication and verbal nonverbal expressions of our soul in a beautiful way. And why wouldn't creating allow us to be aligned with our connected path? Because when we are creating, when we are tapping that aspect of our brain, of our body, of our soul, we are functioning from a complete place of being connected, of energetically vibing with ourselves. So totally being there. So we're talking about enjoyment. Enjoyment, I think, is one of the things that most of us know. We hear this, follow the joy, do what makes you happy. Even if you follow any of the decluttering kind of self-help books, a lot of them have been, don't keep something that does not bring you joy. So we've heard about this joy. And now these 3 talking points are taking it to the next step. This joy is important as long as you're choosing to engage in it today rather than waiting. This enjoyment is important as long as you are focused on that present moment. This joy is important as long as it allows you to express yourself and create in a unique fashion, or and when I say a unique fashion, a fashion that's aligned with who you are as a human being, your humanity, your beautiful soul, and what you have here to offer the world. And so this is number 2 out of those 3 modalities. So we learned last week about accepting, those things that we can't necessarily enjoy or get enthusiastic about, which we're going to talk about next week. But enjoyment is the baseline for providing us a context of moving in the right direction. If I don't enjoy something, I've got to do a check, which is what that acceptance piece was last week. But if you enjoy something, surrender to it, immerse yourself in it, because guaranteed you can't be off track there. You can't be, if it brings you this true, deep-rooted joy, not just a temporary satisfaction. I'm talking about a joy that you feel vibrating through your entire body. All right. So, last but not least, let's talk about our connection, which I said our moment of connect over the next 3 weeks is going to be a little more, a little more homework-esque. So your homework this week is to be present. Increase your awareness to the stillness within. So what I'm going to highly encourage you to do is, after I sign off here, is to take that moment and sit wherever you are and be present. Take in, extend your senses out, and notice what you can see, what you can hear, what you can feel, almost logging the most detailed memory of your life. And when you think you've taken it all in, go one depth stronger. Look at the texture of the leaves, and then the veins, and then all of those little things. Reach out and touch something and take it in even more so, and diving deeper and deeper and deeper into it. Increase your ability to be present, and see if you can experience the colors becoming more vibrant and more vivid as you experience life in the way that we were always intended, from a place of enjoyment and being fully present in a moment. So enjoy yourself this week. Practice presence. Share in the comments below what that experience was like for you. And I will talk to you next week as we tackle the 3rd modality of doing, which is enthusiasm. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.